Hey, good morning, Cole Canyon Coyotes. Whether you are a student or a staff member, we appreciate you tuning in each week. Did you know that spring is only 11 days away? And this weekend, we will be moving those clocks forward ahead 1 hour. So plan ahead and get plenty of sleep the next 2 days of this weekend. Let's begin our Friday flag video with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. So guys and girls, we had a great week of positive behavior choices, and I'm so thankful that you each did your part to make this happen for you and your grade level. If you remember, we did a challenge. I put that out there on Monday, and I have been observing students in all grade levels being more respectful and showing just what it means to be a hero. Keep it up. Each of us are part of this great campus focused on showing respect and thinking of others first. When we do this, there is less stress and more fun for all. And believe it or not, we all learn more when we feel safe and secure. Maybe you've noticed that all of our student expectation signs are up now all over campus. Take some time this coming week to stop and read what they mean. Look at what it means to be a hero in the library or the NPR or restrooms or on the playground. I thank you ahead of time for doing your part at Cole Canyon. In the next few Friday flag videos, I got an idea. I want to go over those expectations for each of those places on campus. Maybe Mr. Zanarchu will put the sign picture up on the camera shot so that as I read those, you can see those. So that's for future Friday flag videos. Anyway, that's how important all that is. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Zanarchu. He has some great words for you. Take it away, Mr. Z.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Hi, Coyotes. Today, I want to have a little chat about something that's really important. It's using school-appropriate language. Now, you might be wondering, what does that really mean? Well, I'm going to break it down for you. First things first, school-appropriate language means choosing your words carefully and making sure they're respectful. It's about speaking in a way that shows our kindness, our consideration, and respect for everyone around us. That's adults, teachers, and yes, your fellow students and classmates. Now, here's why this language is so important. First, that big word that you hear everyone saying, respect. When we use polite and respectful language, we show that we value and respect the people around us, and it's like giving everyone a little dose of kindness. Who doesn't like that? Number two, education. Believe it or not, the way that we speak has an impact about how others see us, including teachers and people in the community. If you use school-appropriate language, it shows that you take your education seriously and you're committed to growing. And last, and definitely not least, it's your upbringing, it's your family, okay? The words that we choose reflect not just on our own education, but also on our values that have been taught by our family. So when we speak with with respect and kindness, it really shows that we've been raised well and we really truly care about everyone around us. Now remember, school-appropriate language isn't just about following the rules, it's about being a kind and respectful member of our community. Let's make a promise to each other to choose our words wisely and treat everybody with respect. If you have any questions about whether it's okay to say something or not, please don't hesitate to ask your teachers or a trusted adult. We're here to help you navigate all those little challenges. So, with something to think about, this has been your school counselor, hoping you have a wonderful week. Now, on to Mrs. Lane for Hallie's Heroes.
Good morning, students and staff, and happy Friday. Remember that every Friday, this is when we give our weekly shout outs from the teachers regarding the students who have been heroes, those who have been helpful, encouraging, respectful, and outstanding. So let's get ourselves started, starting with our kindergartners. From Miss Gordon's class, we have Jackson. From Mrs. Amkraut's class, we have Landon. Heading into our first graders, from Mrs. Moritz class, we have Adelie. From Mrs. Espinoza, we have Fiona. From Mr. Reagan, Isabella. From Mrs. Murray, we have Mateo. From Mrs. Cron, we have Nixon. And from Mrs. Stringer, we have Tate. Moving right along into our second graders, from Mrs. Gonzalez, we have Brad. From Mrs. Manzella, we have Damien. From Mrs. Treese, Delilah. From Mrs. Garrity, we have Joseph and Josephine. And from Mrs. Pacey's class, we have Monica. Heading into our third graders, from Mrs. Hartley's class, we have Abby. From Mrs. De Leon, we have Caden. From Mrs. Tope, we have Charlotte. From Mrs. Hewitson's class, Delaney. From Mrs. Welch, Jana. And from Mrs. Hess's class, we have Uriah. With our fourth graders, from Mrs. Schroeder's class, we have Christina. From Mrs. Calvillo Murray's class, Drew. From Mrs. Trujillo, Levi. From Mrs. Hayes, Madison. From Miss Ariana, we have Michaela. And from Mr. Pacey's class, we have Nicolette. Rounding out our students with our fifth graders, from Mrs. Reagan's class, we have Bruce. From Mrs. Mirande's class, Harper. From Mrs. Hemrick, we have Joseph. From Mrs. Bryan's class, Michaela. From Mrs. Greenstein's class, we have Tenley and Savannah. And finally, we have from Mrs. Bethke's class, Yoel. Congratulations to all of you who earned this weekly shout out. Remember that your names will be entered into our drawing for a class prize at our Friday Flag assemblies. Now let's turn it back over to Mr. Shaw to close us out.
Thank you, Miss Lane. Thank you, Mr. Zanartu. Excellent. Great teamwork there. Hey, we're all very proud of you, boys and girls, with your being a hero on our campus, knowing you're willing to do your best with those words that we talked about, and your actions express that you're heroes to all. So thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will see you back on Monday. Don't forget to move your clocks forward, supposedly at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday early. So you don't need to do that. Your parents will take care of all that, but we'll see you bright and early on Monday. Take care, everyone.